Saint Nicholas and the Dragon. Once upon a time there lived a holy bishop called Nicholas. Everyone loved him because he was so good and spent his time helping others, especially sailors, children, and damsels who needed dowries. When Bishop Nicholas was very old, he died and went to heaven. All the people of Myra, that's the place he was bishop of, came to pay their respects, and his burial place became very famous, and people used to go there from all over the world to ask his intercession. When Bishop Nicholas arrived in heaven, he had a wonderful reception, and all the angels and the saints came to it. Then Saint Nicholas, as he was now known, got ready to settle down to a real relaxational eternity, a stress-free, therapeutic, paradisical God trip. He closed his eyes, sighed, and waited. But who should appear but the glorious Archangel Saint Michael, shining like the sun, sparks in his golden hair, his angelic robe brighter than light. Then the holy Archangel spoke. "Bishop Saint Nicholas, on behalf of the most holy Trinity, I bestow on you the task of traveling around planet Earth each December, bringing joy to every child in the form of a gift to celebrate the birth of the Christ child. This task begins today and will last until the final trump on the day of judgment. We therefore present you with this heavenly sleigh and these two trusty reindeer, Donner and Blitzer. You will, of course, be given an annual holiday in your heavenly homeland, and the store of presents in your sack will be kept full by the angels." Poor Saint Nicholas! He did his best to smile, but inside he felt thoroughly muddled. He was sure there was some mistake. After all, he was now a qualified saint. He had passed his final earthly exam with first-class honours, and was now, according to him, ready for his eternal rest. When Saint Michael had finished his speech, everyone cheered and congratulated him and told him how famous he would become. As it was already December the 24th, it was high time for him to get going, leastways, if all the children in the world were going to get a present. So he jumped into his sleigh, and with a light tug on the golden reins, set off for planet Earth. It was a very pleasant journey, travelling at the speed of light through outer space. Wherever he looked, there were stars of dazzling brightness, shining in a deep blue sky. Finally, in the distance, he could see a small blue and green ball whizzing round a much bigger yellow ball. It was planet Earth going round the sun. Saint Nicholas knew he had almost reached his destination. At last, only a few more light years, and he would arrive. "Slow down, Donner! Slow down, Blitzer!" cried St. Nicholas. But Donner and Blitzer were heavenly reindeer. They didn't need telling. They knew exactly where to land. With an expert leap and in perfect unison, they drew up at the door of a white castle, shining like a diamond in the winter moonlight. The castle had battlements and turrets and several portcullises, and inside lived a handsome king, a gracious queen, and a sweet princess. But just outside the castle walls there lived a terrifying dragon. His name was Snarg, and he was the terror of those parts. As Saint Nicholas climbed out of his sleigh, Snarg suddenly appeared, breathing fire and sulphur. "Golly!" said Saint Nicholas, who had never met a dragon before. "What happens next?" It was clear, from the dragon's antisocial behaviour, that it wanted him to shove off. This dragon was the worst that those parts had ever known. He kept the king and queen and the princess prisoners, so that they couldn't even go for a stroll in the garden without Snarg popping out from behind a bush and scaring them out of their wits. When Snarg saw Saint Nicholas, he breathed out a 20-foot flame and said in his most snargish voice, "What do you want?" "Just to wish you a Merry Christmas," said St. Nicholas, "and to leave a present for the little princess, to honour the Christ child, you know." "Well, you can't," said Snarg, "so buzz off." But Saint Nicholas hadn't been Bishop of Myra for 40 years for nothing. He stood up in his sleigh and cried, "Repent or else!" At these valiant words the dragon repented and thought better of his ways. He was baptized there and then by Saint Nicholas, and became a very tame and well-behaved dragon. And he used to give visitors sightseeing tours around the castle, which was very ancient and went back to the days of King Arthur the First. The king and the queen and the princess were full of gratitude to Saint Nicholas and wanted him to stay with them always. But as time was getting on, and he still had a long way to go, he waved goodbye and sped on through the night. Travelling at the speed of light, he got on pretty fast. Suddenly, spread out below, he saw lights. Yes, it was Tea-mam-doo. Without being told, Donner and Blitzer glided to the front door. And seizing his sack, Saint Nicholas hopped out of the sleigh and rang the front door-bell. Before you could say Jack Robinson, the door was opened and Saint Nicholas vanished inside. Soon he was sitting among his poor Clare sisters and congratulating them on their extraordinary achievements of the past year. He then got out 13 presents to reward them for their outstanding virtue, after which he took his leave. Then Saint Nicholas was off, with many promises to return in 2016. And so it was that the holy bishop finally got back to his heavenly homeland. He was welcomed by all the angels and saints. His sack of Christmas gifts was replenished, and his sleigh was refurbished for next year. But for now, Saint Nicholas sat down in his celestial armchair, with a sigh of contentment, and began his long postponed, relaxational, stress-free, therapeutic, paradisical God trip. He really was in heaven, and he wasn't going to leave it. Not ever. Amen.